There is something about a field at dusk, when the light goes soft and gold, and the cows are standing still or moving slowly through the grass, that makes the whole world feel a little quieter. Welcome to Sleepy Science. Tonight we are going to spend some time with one of the most overlooked and quietly extraordinary animals that has ever walked alongside human beings. If you enjoy what you hear, please like and subscribe, and leave a comment below, telling us what topic you would like to drift off to next. And if you would like to help keep these videos going, you can find the Sleepy Science Patreon in the description below. Now, let us begin. Cows have been walking the earth alongside human beings for roughly 10,000 years. That is a number that is easy to say quickly and easy to let slip past without weight. But 10,000 years is a very long time. It reaches back past the earliest cities, past the first written words, past the beginning of agriculture itself. When the first humans were learning to plant seeds and stay in one place, cows were already there, standing in fields, breathing slowly, already ancient in their own quiet way. The cow, as we know it today, descended from a wild animal called the aurochs. Say that word softly to yourself. Aurochs. It sounds like something that belongs in a dream. These were enormous creatures, much larger than modern cows, with long, sweeping horns and a dark reddish-brown coat that made them look like something carved from the earth itself. They roamed across Europe, Asia, and northern Africa for hundreds of thousands of years. The last aurochs on record died in a forest in Poland in 1627. One animal, the last of an ancient line. And then they were simply gone, leaving behind, in a smaller and gentler form, the animals we keep today. There are around 1 billion cows on Earth right now. 1 billion. If you tried to count them one by one, at a rate of 1 per second, without sleeping, without stopping, it would take you over 31 years. They are found on every continent except Antarctica. They graze in high mountain meadows and in flat river deltas. They stand in the heat of equatorial valleys and in the cold breath of subarctic pastures. Wherever human beings have settled, in almost every corner of the world, cows have followed. Or perhaps it is more accurate to say that we followed them. Cows belong to a group of animals called ruminants. And what that means, in the quietest possible terms, is that they are animals built for patience. A cow has 4 stomach chambers, 4 separate rooms through which food must travel before it becomes nourishment. The first chamber is called the rumen, and it is enormous. A full-grown cow's rumen can hold around 50 gallons of material at any given time. 50 gallons. That is more than most bathtubs. The grass that a cow swallows goes into the rumen first, where billions of tiny microbes begin the long and gentle work of breaking it down. Then something remarkable happens. The cow brings the food back up. Not all of it, just a small, soft ball of it, called a cud. And the cow chews it again. Slowly, patiently, sometimes for as long as 8 hours a day, a cow will spend chewing its cud. Think about that the next time you see a cow standing still in a field, jaw moving in that steady, unhurried rhythm. It is not idle. It is not bored. It is doing the quiet, essential work of digestion. This process of chewing cud has a name of its own. It is called rumination, and it is where we get the human word for deep thought. When we say someone is ruminating, we mean they are turning something over slowly in their mind, coming back to it again and again, the way a cow comes back to the same mouthful of grass. Language remembers things, even when we forget where the words come from. They carry their origins inside them, like seeds. After the cud has been chewed a second time, it moves to the second chamber, called the reticulum, and then to the third, called the omasum, and finally to the fourth, called the abomasum, which works very much like a human stomach. Each chamber has its own job. Each one receives the food, transforms it, and passes it on. The whole process is slow and deliberate, a kind of biological patience built over millions of years, of evolving alongside tough and fibrous grass. Cows are not in a hurry. They never were. A cow drinks an enormous amount of water each day. On average, a dairy cow will drink between 30 and 50 gallons of water every single day. In hotter climates, or during periods of high milk production, that number can climb even higher. Cows can detect water from miles away, and they prefer, when given the choice, to drink slowly and without competition. They are not rushed drinkers. They approach water the way they approach everything else, with calm and a kind of wordless deliberateness. The sound a cow makes, that low, soft, resonant moo, is not random. Cows communicate with each other and with their calves through a range of vocalizations. Researchers have found that cows use different calls to express different emotional states. A cow calling to her calf has a distinctly different sound from a cow calling out in distress. And calves can recognize their mother's voice from among the sounds of the herd. Not just recognize it, respond to it, turn toward it. The bond between a cow and her calf is one of the deepest things about them. There is a quality to a cow's voice that is hard to describe without sitting somewhere quiet and listening to it. It is low and round and seems to come from somewhere very deep in the body. It vibrates more than it rings. When a herd of cows are settled and calm, they sometimes make soft sounds to each other, almost under their breath, gentle rumbles and murmurs. that travel through the air like something half-dreamed. Scientists have found that cows call at a higher pitch when they are distressed or separated from the group. And when they are calm and content, their voices drop lower, softer, more like breathing than talking. Cows have an extraordinary sense of smell. Their nostrils are large and moist, designed to catch the faintest trace of information carried on the air. A cow can detect a scent from as far as 5 miles away, under the right conditions. They use smell to identify other cows, to find their calves, to sense danger, and to locate food. When a cow greets another cow it trusts, it often presses its nose gently to the other's face or neck, breathing in slowly. This is recognition. This is the bovine equivalent of a name. Their hearing is similarly remarkable. Cows can hear frequencies that fall outside the range of human perception, both lower and higher than what our ears can catch. They can rotate each ear independently, turning them like small satellite dishes, to pinpoint the exact direction of a sound. In a field, on a quiet afternoon, a cow might hear sounds arriving from multiple directions at once, and process them all without showing any outward sign of attention. They appear still, but they are listening. Always listening. The eyes of a cow are set on the sides of their head, which gives them a field of vision of almost 360 degrees. They can see nearly everything around them, without moving their head. The only blind spots are directly in front of their nose, and directly behind them. This wide vision evolved as a defense against predators, but it also means that cows experience the world as something vast and surrounding, rather than something small and focused. They do not look forward into the future the way we do. They look outward and around, into the present moment, all at once. Cows are thought to see color, though not in the same way humans do. They appear to be less sensitive to red tones, and more sensitive to blue and green. The idea that bulls charge at red because they hate the color is one of those things that sounds true, and is not. Bulls charge at the movement of the cape, not its color. A bull would charge at a blue cape just as readily. The red is there for the crowd, not for the animal. Cows have long memories. Research has shown that they can remember faces, both of other cows and of humans. For several years, they have been observed recognizing people they had not seen for a long time and responding differently to those they remembered fondly versus those who had caused them stress or discomfort. Memory in cows is tied to emotion. They do not just recall what happened, they recall how it felt. This emotional memory extends to places as well. Cows shown a route through a maze will remember it days later, and often weeks later. They show signs of satisfaction when they solve a problem, and signs of frustration when they are prevented from doing something they were expecting to do. A cow that learns how to press a lever to receive food will press it faster and more confidently over time. And if the lever stops working, without any change in the cow's behavior, the cow will show clear signs of agitation. They expect the world to make sense. And when it does not, they notice. Cows form deep and lasting friendships. This is not a soft or sentimental projection. It has been observed and documented carefully. Cows have preferred companions. Other cows they seek out consistently. That they stand near, that they groom, and that they call for when separated. When two bonded cows are separated, both animals show measurable signs of stress. Elevated heart rates, increased cortisol levels, changes in their calling patterns. And when reunited, their stress markers return to baseline. Together, they are calm. Apart, they are not. The social life of a herd is not random. Cows organize themselves into hierarchies, loose and fluid rankings, where some animals have priority access to food, water, and resting spots. But these hierarchies are not maintained through constant aggression. Most of the time, the social order is communicated through subtle signals: a glance, a slight movement of the head, a shift of the body. Cows read each other constantly, in small, quiet, almost invisible ways. And they remember who is who and where everyone stands, without needing to be reminded. Higher-ranking cows, sometimes called dominant cows, tend to walk at the front of a moving herd. But interestingly, the animal that actually leads the herd in a new direction is not always the dominant one. Sometimes it is a cow of lower social standing that seems simply to know where she wants to go and begins to move. And the others follow, not because they were told to, but because movement is contagious, and because cows, like most social animals, are deeply attuned to the motion of those around them. Cows scratch themselves against fence posts and trees, the same way you might lean into a doorframe to reach an itch between your shoulder blades. They have preferred scratching spots, places they return to again and again, with evident satisfaction. And when a human offers to scratch them, behind the ears, or along the neck, or at the base of the tail, cows often respond in ways that are unmistakably pleasurable. Their necks extend, their eyes half close, their breath slows. They lean into the feeling, the way animals do, when they feel entirely safe. Cows have been observed playing. Young calves especially will run and leap for no apparent reason, kicking their back legs up as they go. It is one of the more endearing things to watch, a large calf suddenly deciding to run in a wide circle, for the pure, uncomplicated joy of it. Even older cows have been seen engaging in what can only be described as play behavior, nudging each other, chasing in brief bursts, or investigating a new object with an almost puppyish curiosity. They are not as serious as they look. Or perhaps more accurately, seriousness and playfulness are not opposites, even for cows. The heartbeat of a resting cow is slower than a human's. A cow at rest, calm and comfortable, will have a heart rate of somewhere between 40 and 60 beats per minute. A human heart at rest beats somewhere between 60 and 100 times per minute. So a cow's heart, in its quietest moments, is already beating slower than ours. If you sat beside a calm cow and placed your hand near its chest and breathed at the pace of its heartbeat, you would find yourself breathing very, very slowly. Cows sleep in two different ways. They can rest in a light sleep, standing up, eyes partially open, still aware of the world around them. But for deeper sleep, the kind that involves dreaming, a cow must lie down. And they only truly lie down in a full and trusting way when they feel safe. A cow lying flat on its side, legs stretched out, head resting on the earth, is a cow that feels entirely at peace with its surroundings. There is something quietly moving about that. The vulnerability of sleep, chosen freely, only when trust has been established. On average, cows sleep for only around 4 hours a day. They do not sleep in one long stretch the way humans tend to. Instead, they sleep in many short intervals, scattered through the day and night. Between sleeping and standing, eating and ruminating and drinking, a cow's day is structured by a rhythm, as regular and unhurried as the turning of a slow wheel. They are creatures of cycle, of returning, of the same field, the same sky, the same movement of shadows across the grass, day after day, season after season. Cows are known to lie down more before rain. This is a piece of rural wisdom, old enough that many people treat it as folk knowledge and not quite science. But the observation has some real basis. Cows are sensitive to changes in barometric pressure and in humidity, and may respond to approaching weather by lying down on dry ground before the rain arrives to wet it. Whether or not this is truly predictive is still debated. But the instinct behind it, the responsiveness to small atmospheric shifts, invisible to human senses, is genuinely remarkable. A cow's body temperature is slightly higher than a human's. While we run at around 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit, a healthy cow sits at around 101.5. Cows generate an enormous amount of internal heat as a byproduct of the microbial fermentation happening inside their rumen. All that bacterial activity, breaking down plant matter, produces heat as a side effect. In cold weather, cows press together in a barn or field, warm each other simply by standing near one another. They are each, in a quiet way, a small and gentle furnace. The nose of a cow is remarkable in ways that go beyond smell. The skin around a cow's nostrils and the broad, flat surface of its nose has a unique pattern of ridges and creases. This pattern, called a muzzle print, is as unique to each cow as a fingerprint is to each human. No two are the same. In some countries, these muzzle prints have been used as a method of identification, the way we use ear tags or microchips. Every cow carries on its face an unrepeatable signature, pressed into the skin before birth. Cows have a specialized structure on the roof of their mouth, called the dental pad. They have no upper front teeth. Where a human has upper incisors, a cow has a thick, leathery pad of dense tissue. They use their long, flexible tongue, which can reach up to 18 inches in some breeds, to curl around grass and pull it against this pad and tear it away. Watch a cow grazing from close range, and you will see the tongue doing most of the work, reaching out, wrapping, pulling. It is methodical and patient and entirely without hurry. Cows produce an extraordinary amount of saliva. A single cow can produce somewhere between 25 and 50 quarts of saliva in a single day. This saliva is not incidental. It plays a critical role in their digestion, buffering the acids in the rumen and helping to break down tough plant material. The act of chewing, all those hours of slow and steady rumination, is also the act of generating this saliva. Every chew is a small act of preparation. Every swallow, a quiet contribution to the long work of staying alive. The milk of a cow is something people have consumed for thousands of years, and yet it remains, when you stop to think about it, a deeply remarkable substance. Cow's milk contains water, fat, protein, sugar, vitamins, and minerals, all in proportions calibrated over millions of years to nourish a growing calf. The fat globules in fresh milk, when seen under a microscope, look like small pale planets drifting in a slow white galaxy. Cream rises because those fat globules are lighter than water. They simply float, upward and together, the way foam gathers on still water. A dairy cow does not produce milk continuously by nature. Like all mammals, a cow produces milk after giving birth, to nourish her calf. Modern dairy cows have been bred over many generations to produce far more milk than a calf needs, and over a longer period. The Holstein breed, the classic black and white cow you likely picture when you think of a dairy cow, can produce over 2,000 gallons of milk in a year. 2,000 gallons from one animal over the course of 12 months. It is a number that sits strangely alongside the image of a single calm animal standing in a barn, breathing slowly. Every Holstein has a different pattern of black and white on its coat, like snowflakes, or fingerprints, or the ridges on a nose. No two are the same. The pattern is determined before birth, as the pigment cells in the developing calf's skin migrate outward from the spine, spreading into the spaces they reach, and leaving others untouched. The result is a map, made by chance, written in black and white across a warm, breathing animal. There are hundreds of breeds of cattle in the world, each one shaped by the particular landscape and climate and human need of the place it came from. The Scottish Highland cow, with its enormous shaggy coat and wide horns, was shaped by cold wind and wet hillsides. The zebu of South Asia, with its distinctive hump and loose folds of skin, was shaped by heat and drought. The Ankole Watusi of East Africa, whose horns can span 8 feet from tip to tip, was shaped by the particular social structures of the people who kept them, for whom cattle were wealth, memory, and ceremony all at once. The hump on a zebu cow is not filled with water, as people sometimes believe. It is a deposit of fat, and the muscle and tissue around it serves as a reservoir of energy for times of scarcity. In lean seasons, when food is hard to find, a zebu can draw on this reserve, the way a camel draws on the fat in its hump. The hump may even shrink visibly, tilting or softening as the animal uses what is stored there. The body, in its quiet wisdom, keeps what it might need. In several cultures around the world, cattle have been considered sacred. In Hinduism, the cow holds a place of deep spiritual significance, representing abundance, gentleness, and the earth's capacity to nourish. In ancient Egypt, the goddess Hathor was often depicted as a cow, or as a woman with the horns and ears of one, and was associated with love, beauty, and the sky. In many pastoral societies across Africa, cattle are not merely property, but a living measure of a person's standing, their history, and their relationships. To give cattle is to give something irreplaceable. To receive them is to carry a responsibility. The word cattle itself comes from the same root as the word capital. Both trace back through Old French and Latin to a word meaning property or wealth. For much of human history, cattle were the most reliable form of stored wealth, a living asset that walked and ate and reproduced. Before coins, before banks, before paper, a person's wealth was often measured in animals. And cattle, being large, useful in many ways, and capable of surviving long journeys, were often the most valued of all. Cattle have shaped the land itself. The trails that cattle herds walked along the same routes year after year became paths. The paths became roads. The roads became highways. Many of the oldest roads in Europe and North America follow lines first worn into the earth by the slow, steady hooves of cattle, moving between pasture and water, generation after generation. The landscape we live in is in part a map of where cattle chose to walk. A cow's hoof is actually 2 toes. Cows are what scientists call cloven-hoofed animals, meaning each foot ends in 2 separate digits, each encased in its own hard shell of keratin. Keratin is the same protein that makes up your fingernails, and the horn of a rhinoceros, and the feathers of a bird. It is one of nature's most versatile materials, tough and lightweight, shaped differently by different bodies, into different tools. A cow's hoof grows continuously, the way a fingernail does, and must be trimmed regularly in domestic animals to keep them comfortable and balanced. Cows that walk on soft ground develop their hooves differently than cows that walk on harder surfaces. The hoof adapts to what it meets. It wears in the places that bear the most weight and grows in the places that are sheltered from pressure. It is a slow and quiet negotiation between the animal and the earth beneath it, carried on over months, one step at a time. Cows spend between 6 and 8 hours a day eating. They take between 40 and 70 bites of grass per minute when grazing, though this varies with the density and height of the grass available. If you watch a cow graze from a distance, what strikes you eventually is the rhythm of it. Head down, tongue out, a sweep, a pull, a lift, then down again. Over and over, with no urgency, no impatience, no sign that the cow wishes it were doing anything else. There is something deeply restful about witnessing that kind of pure, present attention. Grass is not easy to digest. For most animals, cellulose, the main structural component of plant cell walls, is simply indigestible. But inside a cow's rumen live billions of bacteria, protozoa, and fungi that have evolved specifically to break cellulose down. These microorganisms are not passengers. They are partners. Without them, a cow could not survive on grass at all. And without cows, those particular microorganisms would have nowhere to live. Each needs the other. Each one makes the other possible. The gases produced during this fermentation, mostly methane and carbon dioxide, have to go somewhere. Cows release them. Most people know this, and often find it funny. But it is worth pausing on, because the scale is genuinely remarkable. A single cow can release anywhere from 70 to 120 kilograms of methane per year. Multiply that by 1 billion cows, and the numbers become something worth holding quietly in the mind, without judgment or blame, but with attention. Cows are not doing anything wrong. They are doing what they have always done. But the scale of them, in the world we have made, carries consequences that reach past the fence line, past the field, into the atmosphere above. A cow's tail serves many functions. The most visible is swatting flies. A cow's tail can move with surprising speed and precision, reaching flies on the back, the flank, the belly, with minimal effort. Watch a cow on a warm summer day, and the tail rarely stops moving. It is a continuous low-level maintenance, a quiet, ongoing effort to keep the body comfortable. Cows also communicate with their tails in small ways. A tail held high can signal excitement or alertness. A tail tucked low can signal discomfort or submission. The tail is not decoration. It is language. Cattle have been used to pull plows and carts and loads for most of recorded human history. Before, the horse was widely domesticated, and long before machines, oxen, which are simply castrated male cattle, were among the most important agricultural tools in the world. They are slower than horses, but they are stronger, more reliable, easier to feed, and far less likely to panic. A team of oxen pulling a plow through heavy clay soil would set the pace for the entire growing season. Patient, inexorable, step by heavy step. In many parts of Asia and Africa, cattle still work the land this way. Zebu oxen in India, or water buffalo in Southeast Asia, do the work that machines do elsewhere, and have done so for longer than the machines have existed. There is a kind of continuity in that, a thread of relationship between human and animal that stretches back thousands of years, unbroken. The hide of a cow has been used to make leather for as long as human beings have known how to tan it. The earliest known leather artifacts date back over 5,000 years. Leather from cattle is remarkably durable, water-resistant when properly treated, and flexible enough to be shaped into almost anything. Shoes, bags, armor, books. For a very long time, the pages of important documents and manuscripts were made not from paper, but from the dried and stretched skin of calves. It was called vellum, and some of the most important texts in human history were written on it. The bones of cattle have been used to make tools. The stomach lining has been used to make rennet, an enzyme essential to cheesemaking. The fat has been used to make candles and soap. The horns have been used to make cups and combs and buttons. The blood, in some traditional cultures, is drunk as a source of protein and iron. Almost nothing is wasted. Almost nothing goes unused. The relationship between cattle and humanity, in its oldest forms, was one of deep and total reciprocity. They gave everything, and in return, they were fed and sheltered, and in their way, remembered. There is a quality to the sound of a barn at night that is unlike any other sound. The soft shifting of large bodies in straw, the low, wet breathing, the occasional creak of wood, the distant murmur of a cow half asleep. People who grew up near cattle often describe this as one of the most comforting sounds they know. There is something about the warmth of it, the mass of living breath gathered in one dark space, that feels ancient and safe. Cows can sense the Earth's magnetic field. This was discovered by researchers who analyzed satellite images of cattle grazing across the world, and found that when left to their own devices, cows tend to align their bodies roughly north-south while grazing. The alignment is not perfect, and it varies near power lines, which seems to disrupt their ability to sense the field. But the tendency is there, quiet and consistent, beneath the visible behavior of grazing. They feel the pull of the planet, the deep magnetic hum of the earth, and orient themselves to it, the way a needle orients to north. Cows have been to space. Or rather, the bacteria that live in their digestive systems have been studied extensively as models for how microbes might behave in extreme environments. The microbial ecosystem inside a cow's rumen is so complex and so finely balanced that scientists have compared its study to the study of ecosystems on the ocean floor. There are organisms in there that exist nowhere else on Earth, tiny and invisible, shaped by millions of years, of living inside the dark, warm chamber of a ruminant's first stomach. A world within a world. The gestation period of a cow, the time between conception and birth, is around 280 days, which is almost exactly the same as the human gestation period. 9 months of slow becoming. 9 months of the calf growing in the dark warmth of its mother, while the seasons shift outside. When a calf is born, it typically can stand within an hour, sometimes less. Within a day, it can walk well enough to follow its mother. It arrives in the world already capable, already beginning the process of becoming what it will be. A newborn calf weighs between 40 and 100 pounds at birth, depending on the breed. It is covered in a thin membrane, which the mother licks away, cleaning and warming the calf, and stimulating its breathing with her enormous, rough tongue. This licking serves multiple purposes. It dries the calf. It establishes scent recognition. It activates the nervous system. And it begins to build, in the quietest and most physical way, the bond between mother and child. Cows can begin to reproduce at around 15 months of age, though they reach full physical maturity later, often around 2 to 3 years. A well-kept dairy cow can live for 20 years or more, though commercial dairy cows are rarely kept that long. In their natural lifespan, cows are long-lived animals, with time enough to learn their landscape deeply, to form lasting attachments, and to develop individual personalities that deepen and settle as the years pass. Cows have individual personalities. This is not sentiment. It has been confirmed by behavioral research. Some cows are bold, the first to approach something new, the first to walk through an unfamiliar gate. Others are cautious, watching from a distance, waiting to see what the bold cows discover before moving forward themselves. Some are curious and sociable, drawn to humans and new situations. Others are more reserved, preferring the familiar, and showing clear signs of discomfort when routines are disrupted. Farmers who spend time with their animals often speak of individual cows by personality. The stubborn one, the curious one, the gentle giant who is first in line for scratches, the nervous one who needs extra calm around her. These are not projections. They are observations made daily, over years, by people who pay close attention. Cows can experience what researchers describe as emotional contagion. That is, the mood of one cow can spread to others nearby. If a cow is distressed, the cows near it will often show signs of elevated arousal, even if they cannot see or hear the source of the distress. They pick it up through smell, through subtle shifts in body posture, through the barely perceptible changes in how a distressed animal holds itself. And conversely, a calm cow in the herd tends to have a steadying effect on the animals near it. Calm is contagious too. Researchers in the United Kingdom conducted studies in which they measured the impact of positive handling on dairy cows. Cows that were handled gently and calmly, spoken to softly, and given more human contact, produced more milk than cows handled without this care. Not a small difference. A meaningful one. Enough to be economically significant. Kindness, measurably, and in a very literal way, made a difference. Some farmers give their cows music. There is research suggesting that cows exposed to slow music, pieces with a tempo under 100 beats per minute, produce more milk than cows kept in silence or exposed to fast or loud music. Studies have tried different genres: classical, country, slow jazz. The results are not uniform, but the trend is consistent enough to be interesting. Cows, it seems, are not indifferent to sound. They are not machines with inputs and outputs. They are responsive, sensitive, and apparently something like a fan of slow music. The color of a cow's coat varies enormously across breeds. There are cows that are solid black, solid red, solid white, and every pattern of spotted, patched, or mottled combinations between. The belted Galloway breed, sometimes called the Oreo cow, is entirely black or reddish-brown, with a wide white band around its middle. No one is entirely sure how this distinctive coloring evolved, but it makes them immediately recognizable in any pasture. Their white belt bright, even in the low light of a gray morning. Longhorn cattle, the iconic breed of the American West, were not native to North America. They descended from cattle brought by Spanish explorers in the 1500s, and over generations adapted to the harsh, arid conditions of the southern plains. The famous cattle drives of the American West, the ones celebrated in paintings and stories and old films, moved longhorn cattle north, from Texas, to railroad towns in Kansas and Nebraska, where they could be shipped east. The drives were long and hard and covered hundreds of miles, the cattle walking, eating, and resting as they went. Slow, inexorable, and in their own way, magnificent. Texas longhorns have horns that can span more than 7 feet from tip to tip. These horns are not for show, or at least they were not originally. In the wild ancestors of cattle, horns were weapons and signals used to establish dominance and to defend against predators. In modern domestic cattle, the horns are often removed for safety reasons, a process called dehorning. But in breeds where horns are preserved, they carry a quiet authority, a reminder of the wildness, still present, somewhere beneath the domesticated surface. Cows are prey animals. This shapes almost everything about how they think and move and respond to the world. Their wide eyes, their rotating ears, their tendency to move in groups, their sensitivity to sudden movement or noise, their preference for open spaces where they can see what is coming. All of these things make evolutionary sense for an animal that spent millions of years being hunted. The alertness of a cow in an unfamiliar place, the way it holds its head high and tests the air, is not anxiety. It is the ancient machinery of survival, still running, even now. Cattle have a strong herd instinct. They feel safest in the group, and a cow separated from the herd will typically try to return to it as quickly as possible. This instinct can be so strong that a cow will walk through discomfort or navigate around obstacles to get back to its companions. Isolation is genuinely distressing for cattle. They are not solitary animals. They are woven into each other by millions of years of needing to be near each other to survive. Temple Grandin, an animal scientist and autism advocate, revolutionized how we think about moving cattle by recognizing that they see the world very differently from humans. She understood that the things that make cattle balk or panic, shadows, contrasts, sudden openings, a coat hanging on a fence, are not irrational fears. They are the natural responses of an animal, wired to notice anything that might be a threat. Her designs for curved handling systems that work with the natural movement patterns of cattle rather than against them reduced stress and injury significantly. Understanding the animal on its own terms changed everything. Cows have a preferred side. Much like humans having a dominant hand, individual cows tend to favor one side of their body. They may prefer to stand with their head turned left, or they may circle to the right when anxious, or begin walking with the same foot each time. This laterality, as scientists call it, runs surprisingly deep in the animal kingdom, suggesting that the tendency to prefer one side of the body is very old indeed. Cows can jump. Most people know this in a vague way, but it is still slightly surprising to watch. A motivated cow, especially a younger one, can clear a fence of significant height. Stories of cows escaping from fields by leaping fences or learning to open gates are common among farmers, and often delivered with a mixture of exasperation and what sounds very much like admiration. The cow that wants to be somewhere else will often find a way. Cows have been known to navigate mazes, pull ropes to receive food, and even use mirrors in some contexts. They show curiosity about novel objects, approaching them cautiously at first, then more confidently, if no threat materializes. This investigative behavior, this willingness to approach the unknown, is a sign of intelligence and cognitive flexibility. It means the animal is not just running on instinct, but is also capable of something like curiosity. Some cows have escaped from farms and lived wild, for years at a time. In Poland, a cow known as Matilda escaped from a farm and lived in a forest for more than a year. She avoided capture, learned to hide, and apparently thrived, surviving a Polish winter on her own. When she was finally retrieved, she had reportedly given birth to a calf in the forest. There is something in this story, hard to name exactly, but worth sitting with. The cow that found the forest and learned to live in it. In New Zealand, a cow named Lilica escaped repeatedly from the same farm, always walking to a nearby house, where she had made friends with a dog. The cow and the dog would stand together, nose to nose, or lie near each other in the yard. When Lilica was taken back to the farm, she would escape again. It happened enough times that her farmer eventually let her spend time there freely. Cows form attachments across species lines, the same way we do. The dung of cattle has been used as fuel for thousands of years. Dried cattle dung, sometimes called cow dung cakes or dung bricks, burns slowly and with steady heat. In parts of South Asia and Africa, where wood is scarce, dried dung has been the primary cooking fuel for generations. It is not glamorous knowledge, but it is the kind of knowledge that matters deeply to the people who depend on it. Cows giving warmth and cooked food long after the day's milking is done. Cattle dung is also one of the world's oldest fertilizers. The nutrients in manure, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, are among the same elements that synthetic fertilizers try to replicate in concentrated form. But manure does something else as well. It feeds the soil microbiome. It adds organic matter that improves soil structure, helping it hold water and resist erosion. The relationship between grazing cattle and the land they graze, when managed well, can be mutually sustaining. The cattle eat the grass. The dung feeds the soil. The soil grows more grass. The cycle continues, as it has for a very long time. Grasslands shaped by grazing are some of the most biologically diverse ecosystems on Earth. The American prairie, the African savanna, the steppes of Central Asia, all evolved in the presence of large grazing animals. Before cattle, it was bison and wildebeest and antelope. The grass grew to be grazed. The soil evolved to receive the hooves and the dung. The whole system, down to the earthworms and the beetles and the grasses was built around the presence of large herbivores. Cattle, in this sense, are not an intrusion on the landscape. In the right numbers, in the right places, they are part of it. Watusi cattle, bred for thousands of years in East Africa, have horns so large that blood circulates through them to help cool the animal. The horns act as radiators, carrying warm blood close to the surface, where heat can escape into the air. On a hot day, the horns of a Watusi cow are slightly warmer than the surrounding air, radiating the animal's excess heat outward. What appears to be decoration is engineering. What appears to be excess is adaptation. Zebu cattle, the humped cattle common across South Asia and Africa, are remarkably heat-tolerant. They have more sweat glands per square inch than European breeds, and their skin is looser, which allows more surface area to be exposed to moving air. They also tend to have darker skin, which offers some protection from UV radiation. Zebu breeds have been crossed with European breeds to produce cattle suited to tropical climates, combining the milk production capacity of one lineage with the heat tolerance of another. The best of two ancient worlds, combined slowly, through generations. Yaks, which are cattle of the Himalayan highlands, are built for cold in the way zebu are built for heat. Their coats are extraordinary, with a dense inner layer of fine soft fiber, and a longer outer coat of coarse guard hairs that hangs almost to the ground. This outer coat acts like a skirt, trapping a layer of warmer air beneath the belly and protecting the animal from wind. Yaks also have larger lungs and hearts than lowland cattle, adapted to extract more oxygen from the thin mountain air. At altitudes that would leave a person gasping, a yak moves calmly, breathing slowly, entirely at home. The water buffalo, a cousin to the domestic cow, has been domesticated separately and is one of the most important animals in Asia. There are more water buffalo in China alone than there are people in many large countries. Water buffalo are extraordinarily strong and well adapted to working in wet conditions, where their wide hooves, which splay outward on soft ground, prevent them from sinking into the mud. They are essential to rice farming across much of Southeast Asia, ploughing flooded paddies in conditions that would mire other animals. The milk of a water buffalo is richer and creamier than that of a domestic cow. It contains more fat, more protein, and more calcium, and it is the milk traditionally used to make mozzarella cheese in southern Italy. The original mozzarella di bufala, still made in Campania today, is softer and richer than the cow's milk version, and carries a slight tang that comes from the particular composition of buffalo milk. That slice of cheese on a plate of tomatoes in a kitchen somewhere carries inside it thousands of years of relationship between people and animals and land. Cheese has been made from cow's milk for at least 7,000 years. The earliest evidence of cheese making, found in pottery fragments in ancient Poland, suggests that people were already straining curds from whey, long before the invention of writing. The discovery was almost certainly accidental. Milk stored in a bag made from a calf's stomach would curdle naturally from the rennet in the stomach lining, separating into curds and whey. Someone, at some point, tasted what remained and found it good. And from that single moment of curiosity, an entire world of dairy culture was born. Today, there are over 1,000 named varieties of cheese in the world, each one different in texture, flavor, and method of production. Some aged for months, some for years, some soft and mild and made to be eaten fresh, some hard and sharp and ancient. Every one of them begins the same way, with milk and warmth and time. There is something deeply satisfying about that. The idea that patience, applied consistently, turns something simple into something complex and beautiful. Butter, one of the oldest and most beloved of all cooking fats, is simply cream that has been agitated until its structure changes. The fat globules in cream, when shaken long enough, clump together and separate from the liquid. What remains solid is butter. What remains liquid is buttermilk. The first person to discover this was almost certainly someone carrying a skin bag of cream on a long journey and arriving at the destination to find the contents transformed. A happy accident, the kind that changes everything. Ireland and Scotland have a long tradition of what is called bog butter. Butter was packed into wooden containers and buried in peat bogs as a way of preserving it. The cool, oxygen-poor environment of the bog slowed spoilage dramatically. Some of this bog butter has been discovered centuries later, still identifiable as butter, though deeply altered in color and scent. The oldest discovered so far was estimated at around 5,000 years old. Butter, buried by a hand that has long since turned to earth itself, still waiting in the dark. The word buttery, used to describe both taste and texture, is one of those words that carries its origin on its surface. And yet the particular quality it names, that soft richness, that slight warmth of flavor, is something almost everyone understands immediately. Language and experience meeting without friction. The word meaning the thing, so perfectly that you almost do not notice it is a word at all. Cows have contributed to human health in ways beyond food. The smallpox vaccine, one of the most successful public health interventions in history, was derived from cowpox, a related virus that infects cattle. Edward Jenner, an English physician, observed in the late 1700s that milkmaids who contracted cowpox seemed to be protected against the much more deadly smallpox. He tested this observation carefully and developed a method of inoculation using cowpox material. The word vaccine itself comes from the Latin word for cow, vacca. Every vaccination you have ever received in a quiet way, carries the word for cow inside it. Smallpox was declared eradicated in 1980, the only human disease to have been completely eliminated from the world. The first step toward that elimination, taken nearly 200 years earlier, began with a farmer's observation about cows and a doctor willing to take it seriously. The cows did not know what they had contributed, but the contribution was real and vast and permanent. Insulin, used to treat diabetes, was originally extracted from the pancreases of cattle and pigs. Before synthetic insulin was developed, bovine insulin was the primary treatment for people with type 1 diabetes. The structural similarity between cow insulin and human insulin is close enough that the cow version could regulate blood sugar in a human body. Not perfectly, not without side effects for all patients, but well enough to save millions of lives for decades before better alternatives were found. Collagen from cattle is used in wound dressings and in certain medical procedures. Gelatin, made from boiling cattle bones and connective tissue, is used in everything from gummy candies to pharmaceutical capsule shells. The relationship between human medicine and the bodies of cattle is older than modern science and runs deeper than most people realize. Cows in ancient Rome were so valuable that killing one was sometimes treated as a crime comparable to murder. An oxen that worked the fields, that pulled the plow and tilled the soil, was not merely property. It was a partner in survival. To kill one carelessly or out of anger was to destroy something irreplaceable. Roman law took cattle seriously, in the same breath as land and life. In ancient India, the texts of the Rig Veda, among the oldest religious writings in the world, mention cattle hundreds of times. Wealth is measured in cattle. Prayers are offered for their health. Deities are associated with their form. The cow in these texts is not background. It is central. It is woven into the fabric of what matters most. The ancient Egyptians kept cattle and included them in tomb paintings as symbols of the abundance of the earth. Cattle were among the gifts offered to the dead to ensure they had plenty in the next life. They appear in hieroglyphs, in myths, in the iconography of deities. They walk through the ancient world's imagination, as much as through its fields. The bovine eye, due to its size and accessibility, has been used in education for generations. Students of biology and medicine have dissected cow eyes to understand the structure of the vertebrate eye, because it is similar enough to the human eye to be instructive and large enough to be manageable. The tapetum lucidum, the reflective layer behind a cow's retina that makes their eyes glow in the dark when caught in a light, is not present in human eyes. We see better in bright light. They see better in dim. Each eye shaped by the life it needed to see. The glowing eyes of cattle caught in headlights at night. That sudden, pale, golden gleam in the dark has startled more than a few drivers on rural roads. It is produced by the tapetum lucidum bouncing light back through the retina, giving the photoreceptors a second chance to catch it. It is why nocturnal animals can see in near darkness. They are not just receiving light, they are recycling it, making the most of what arrives. In many cultures, the word for cattle and the word for wealth either overlap or share a root. In Old English, the word feo meant cattle and also meant property and money. It eventually evolved into the modern English word fee. The idea that wealth could walk, could graze, could multiply on its own was not just metaphor. It was how economies worked. For most of human history, the living asset, the walking bank account, fed on grass, sustained by rain, growing its own value, simply by being alive. Cows produce heat in such quantities that a large barn full of them in winter can stay warm enough for the animals, with no additional heating at all. Old farmhouses were sometimes built directly connected to barns for this reason, so that the warmth of the animals could drift through the shared walls. In Scandinavian farmsteads of the past, the cattle and the family might have shared a building, separated only by a partition. Humans warmed by the slow, living heat of their animals. The breath of cows rising in the cold dark. Cattle have appeared in art for as long as humans have made it. The cave paintings of Lascaux in southern France, made around 17,000 years ago, depict aurochs, the wild ancestors of domestic cattle, with a skill and expressiveness that is genuinely moving. The animals are shown in motion, with a sense of weight and presence that makes them feel almost alive on the stone. The artists who made them, by lamplight in the deep quiet of the cave, were painting animals they knew, animals they hunted and feared, and perhaps also, in some way, revered. Standing in front of those paintings, or looking at photographs of them, there is a feeling that is hard to name. Something like recognition, something like vertigo. A human hand pressed the pigment to that wall 17,000 years ago, making this shape, these lines, this animal. And it is still there. The animal running across the stone, the artist long since gone. And yet something remains of that moment of contact between a human being and a great horned animal in the dark. In China, the ox is one of the 12 animals of the Chinese zodiac. Those born in the year of the ox are said to be patient, diligent, dependable, and quietly strong. These are not accidents of association. They are observations, drawn from thousands of years of watching cattle work. Patient, yes. Diligent, without question. Quietly strong, absolutely. The zodiac remembered what the animals had shown. The Maasai people of East Africa, whose entire culture and identity is built around cattle, do not just keep cattle for food or profit. Cattle are at the center of every significant life event: birth, marriage, death. Cattle are given as gifts to seal alliances and to honor elders. Cattle are the living measure of a man's social standing. The size of a Maasai man's herd is not just wealth in the economic sense. It is reputation, relationship, and memory all at once. The herd is the man's story, walking across the landscape. Maasai cattle herders know their individual animals by sight. They give them names. They know their temperaments, their habits, their histories. They know which ones are calm, which are stubborn, which are gentle with calves, and which take the lead when the herd moves. This depth of knowledge, accumulated over a lifetime of daily observation, is extraordinary. It is a kind of scholarship, written not in books, but in attentiveness. In Japan, the Wagyu breed of cattle, known for its remarkably marbled beef, is raised with extraordinary care. The intramuscular fat that gives Wagyu beef its character is a result of genetics combined with very slow growth. Wagyu cattle are typically raised for longer than other breeds, fed carefully, and kept in low-stress environments. Some producers give their animals massages. Some play them music. Whether or not these practices make a measurable difference in the meat, they reflect a philosophy that the quality of an animal's life matters. The stomach of a cow makes sounds. If you pressed your ear gently against a cow's left side and were quiet, you would hear a slow, deep, liquid rumbling. This sound, called borborygmi, is the sound of the rumen at work. Gas and fluid and the constant movement of microbial activity, producing a sound like a very slow, very deep ocean. Vets listen to these sounds when checking a cow's health. A healthy rumen sounds active and regular. A sick one sounds different, quieter, or wrong in ways a practiced ear can name. Cows can hear sounds below the range of human hearing, what is called the infrasound range. Infrasound waves travel enormous distances, passing through walls and hills and miles of open air. Elephants use infrasound to communicate across the savanna. Some researchers believe that large animals, like cattle, may use low-frequency calls to stay in contact with herd members at a distance. Communication happening beneath the threshold of human hearing, in a register we cannot access, but that travels, perhaps, through the ground itself. The connection between a cow and her calf is something that has been documented repeatedly and carefully. A mother cow separated from her calf will call for it, consistently, sometimes for hours. She will pace the fence line. She will search with her eyes and her nose. She will show all the behavioral markers of distress. And the calf, on its side, will show the same. The bond is chemical as well as behavioral, built through licking and nursing and the exchange of scent. In the first hours of life, it is established quickly. It runs deep, and it is real. Young calves can identify their mothers from among the sounds of the herd. Within hours of birth, they learn the specific frequency and rhythm of their mother's call. In a large and noisy herd, a calf can pick out that particular voice from everything else that is happening and move toward it. What is recognition, really, if not this? One voice among all the voices, calling and being heard. Calves are intensely playful. They run and kick and leap for the simple joy of motion. They investigate everything within reach. They chew on fence posts and each other's ears and passing legs with the indiscriminate curiosity of the very young. Play in young animals is thought to serve important developmental purposes, building coordination, social skills, and problem-solving ability. But it also just looks like fun. Like the calf running for no reason. In the early morning, because running feels good. As calves age into adults, their playfulness does not entirely disappear. Adult cows have been observed engaging in what can only be described as play behavior, with objects, with other cows, and occasionally with humans they trust. A cow that has been raised with gentle human contact and has come to associate people with positive experiences may approach a familiar person in a loose, relaxed way that includes nudging and following and showing what looks very much like affection. Cows can be trained. They respond to consistent cues and can learn to associate specific signals with specific outcomes. Some farmers train young calves to come when called, or to accept various handling procedures by pairing them with positive reinforcement. Training a cow well requires patience, consistency, and a willingness to work on the animal's timeline, rather than your own. You cannot rush a cow. If you try, you will find it is you who changes pace, not the cow. Cows and humans have shared domesticated space for so long that each has shaped the evolution of the other. Lactase persistence, the ability of adult humans to digest milk, is not universal. Most mammals, including most humans throughout evolutionary history, lose the ability to digest lactose after infancy. But in populations that kept dairy cattle for thousands of years, a genetic mutation that preserves lactase activity into adulthood became increasingly common. Because it was advantageous, because milk was available, and those who could drink it thrived. The gene spread. The population changed, shaped by the presence of cattle. Roughly 65% of the world's adults have some degree of lactose intolerance, which means, if you think about it quietly, that the ability to drink milk as an adult is actually the evolutionary newcomer. The intolerance is the default. The tolerance, developed in the relatively recent past, in specific populations, in response to their particular relationship with cattle. The word cow, in English, is very old. It traces back to Old English, and further back still, to Proto-Germanic, and beyond that, to Proto-Indo-European, one of the oldest reconstructed languages. The Proto-Indo-European root is thought to be something like goos, and the same root appears, in different forms, across dozens of languages. The Sanskrit word go, the Latin bos, the Greek baus, the Welsh budge, all of them cousins, all of them naming the same patient animal, in the particular sound of their particular tongue. The word for cow is among the oldest words we carry, spoken, in one form or another, for longer than writing has existed. Cows do not sweat in the same way humans do. They have sweat glands, but their primary cooling mechanism, in hot weather, is through panting and through seeking shade. You will often see cows standing in a group under a single tree, their bodies overlapping slightly, sharing the shadow. They will stand there for long stretches, still and quiet, waiting for the heat to ease. There is something deeply familiar about that particular bovine stillness in the heat of the afternoon. It looks a great deal like waiting, and perhaps it is. Cows prefer open pastures to confined spaces. They are animals of the wide view, and they thrive when they have room to move, and space enough to feel that they can see what is coming. A cow in a very small pen, or a very confined barn, will show behavioral signs of stress that disappear when given more room. They need the horizon, or at least some version of it. Some suggestion that the world goes on past the fence. Pasture-based cattle farming, where animals are kept outdoors and moved between fields, is considered by many researchers and farmers to be better for the land as well as the animals. When cattle graze a pasture and are then moved on, the grazed grass, stimulated by the cropping and the fertilization of the dung, regrows with vigor. The roots deepen, the soil improves, and when the cattle return, weeks or months later, there is fresh grass waiting. The cycle holds. The land gives back what the animals take, and then some. Not all land is suitable for crops. Steep hillsides, rocky ground, thin soils, all of these can support grass, and therefore cattle, even when they cannot support grain or vegetables. The cattle in these marginal landscapes, the sheep farmers of Wales, the hill farmers of Scotland, the ranchers of rough country everywhere, are converting land that could produce nothing for human use into food. Grass into milk, grass into meat. The alchemy is real. even if it is quiet. The sound of a bell on a led cow, drifting across a mountain valley, is one of the oldest sounds in European agriculture. Cattle in alpine regions of Switzerland, Austria, and northern Italy have been brought to high summer pastures, called alpages or arms, for centuries. The lead cow, often the most dominant animal in the herd, wears a large bell around her neck, so the herd can be located in the fog, and the farmer knows where they have gone. The particular bell of the led cow has its own sound, distinct from the other bells, and the farmer knows it. That sound, crossing a valley in the cool blue of a mountain morning. The tradition of bringing cattle down from the high pastures in autumn is still celebrated in some alpine communities, with festivals and processions. The cows are decorated with garlands of flowers, and the lead cow wears her largest and finest bell. People line the roads to watch them pass. The animals walk slowly, enormous and calm, wearing their flowers with complete indifference, but perhaps, in the way of all unself-conscious things, with a certain dignity. Cows have been observed approaching human music with curiosity. Stories of farmers playing instruments to their herds and receiving what felt like an interested audience are common enough to be reliable as a pattern. Cows may approach a person playing a guitar or a harmonica and stand nearby, ears forward, mouths still. Whether they are drawn by curiosity, or by the vibration of the sound, or by something else, is not fully understood. But they do approach, and they do stay. And for a few minutes, a farmer and a field of cows share something in the open air. The amount of water required to produce a single pound of beef is a number people sometimes find startling when they first encounter it. Estimates vary widely, depending on the farming method and the region, but commonly cited figures hover around 1,000 to 2,000 gallons per pound. This water is not all directly drunk by the animal. Most of it goes to growing the feed, the grain, the hay, the pasture grasses. Water in the soil, water in the roots, water in every blade of grass the cow will ever eat. Food production is a water story, as much as anything else. Cows raised on grass, with access to good pasture, tend to have different nutritional profiles in their milk and meat than cows raised entirely on grain. Grass-fed beef and dairy, in particular, tends to have higher levels of omega-3 fatty acids and certain fat-soluble vitamins. The grass, in a way, passes through the cow and into the milk and meat, carrying something of its particular composition. The land, in a quiet way, gets into the food. This is part of what the French call terroir, a word used in wine, but applicable more broadly. The idea that the particular soil and climate and plant life of a place leaves its mark on what is produced there. Cheese made from the milk of cows grazing in alpine meadows tastes different from cheese made from the milk of cows grazing in river valleys. Not because of anything anyone adds, but because of what the cows ate and what that pasture contained. The land speaking through the animal, through the milk, to the tongue. The question of what cows feel, emotionally, is one that has moved from the edges of science toward the center. For a long time, the assumption in much of the scientific community was that animals felt something simpler than emotions, or nothing at all. That they responded to stimuli, but did not suffer, or feel joy, or fear, in any meaningful sense. This view has shifted considerably. The evidence for emotional experience in cattle is now substantial enough that it is taken seriously by researchers who had no particular interest in reaching that conclusion. Cows show signs of positive emotions. Their ears relax, their eyes soften, their body tension decreases. When a cow is given access to something it enjoys, a scratch in a favorite spot, a familiar companion, fresh grass on a warm morning, these physical signs appear. And they are measurable, quantifiable, real. Cows show signs of negative emotions too. They become restless when frustrated. They vocalize more when distressed. They eat and drink less when anxious. They show elevated cortisol levels under stress. These are not philosophical arguments. They are biological measurements. The animal feels something. What it feels is not identical to what we feel. But it is not nothing. It is not nothing at all. In 2004, researchers at the University of Cambridge published a study showing that cows who solved a problem showed signs of excitement that resembled what we might call pleasure. Their heart rates increased. They held their heads higher. They moved with more energy. The researchers called it a eureka moment. A small, quiet, bovine eureka. The satisfaction of figuring something out. Present in another species. Written in the body. For anyone paying attention. A cow stands for around 8 hours a day and lies down for around 14. The lying is not wasted time. Rumination happens most effectively when lying down, because the position helps the rumen work efficiently. A cow that cannot lie down for long enough, due to poor housing or crowding, will ruminate less effectively. And this leads to digestive problems. The rest is part of the function. The stillness is the work. This is a thought worth carrying with you into sleep tonight. That stillness is the work. That rest is not absence, but process. That the cow lying in the dark barn, warm and quiet, is not doing nothing. It is digesting, processing, building, renewing. The same way you, right now, lying still in the dark, are doing something essential. Cows drink water very quickly when they finally come to it. they can consume around 30 gallons in only a few minutes. The act of drinking seems to bring them visible satisfaction. They plunge their noses deep into the water, the muzzle submerging almost completely, and drink in long, slow, steady pulls. Afterward, they lift their heads, water dripping from their muzzles, and often stand quietly for a moment before moving on. Thirst met, need fulfilled, the world, momentarily, sufficient. There is a sound that very young calves make that is different from the sounds of adult cattle. It is smaller, higher, a kind of soft bleating almost. Not quite a moo, not quite anything else. It is the sound of the very new, of something still finding its voice. And when a mother hears it, she turns immediately and moves toward it. Every time, without hesitation, drawn by that particular note in all the sounds of the world. Cows navigate by memory. They learn the layout of their pasture and remember where the gates are, where the water is, where the shelter is, and where the best grass tends to grow. When a herd is moved to a new pasture, they will spend time investigating and mapping it, learning its particular geography. Then they begin to move through it with increasing confidence as the map in their mind grows more detailed. Place matters to them. Familiarity matters. The particular curve of this hill, the shade of this tree, the taste of this particular patch of grass, in this particular corner of a field they have known for years. Cattle farming has changed enormously over the last 100 years. In some ways, for the better. Veterinary care is far more available. Understanding of animal nutrition has improved. Cattle live more comfortably, with less disease, than they did a century ago. In other ways, the scale of industrial farming has created new questions about the quality of the animals' lives and the impact of the industry on the environment. These are not simple questions, and they do not have simple answers, but they are worth carrying quietly as you think about the animals and the land and the food. There are farmers around the world who have built their entire lives around caring for cattle well, who know their animals individually, who understand the rhythms of the herd, who manage their land in ways that improve it over time. This kind of farming, slow and attentive and deeply rooted in a particular place, is as old as farming itself. And it is still happening in every country on earth, alongside all the other kinds. A field of cows at dusk is one of the quieter sights available to a person. The light falling long and golden across the grass, the large bodies of the animals moving slowly or standing still, the occasional low sound of a voice crossing the air. If you have ever stood at a gate or fence, watching a field of cattle in the evening, you may know the particular quality of calm that comes over you. Not the forced calm of trying to relax, but something that arrives on its own, quietly, without announcement. the stillness of the animals, becoming, in some small way, your own. There is a practice sometimes called forest bathing, in which simply spending time in the presence of trees without any particular goal has been shown to reduce stress hormones, lower blood pressure, and improve mood. No one has specifically studied field bathing yet, as far as I know, but I suspect the data would be similar. Spending quiet time in the company of cattle, watching them graze, listening to their sounds, breathing the particular smell of a field and its animals, does something gentle to a person. It slows things down. It reminds the body that not everything has to be fast. The breath of a cow on a cold morning hangs visible in the air for a moment before dissolving. Each breath, a small white cloud, rising and spreading and becoming invisible again. If you watch a herd breathing on a cold morning, there is a constant gentle release of small clouds, each one here for a moment, and then gone. Something about it is deeply calming. The breath, the warmth, the life, visible, then not. Then again. Your own breath, right now, is doing something very similar. Rising, carrying warmth, dissolving into the air around you. Returning, without effort, without instruction. Your body knows this rhythm, the way a cow's body knows to chew its cud, the way the herd knows to turn toward each other in the cold. Some things do not need to be learned. They simply happen in the deep places where consciousness does not reach. Cows do not worry about tomorrow. This is not because they are simple. It is because they live entirely in the moment they are in. The grass underfoot, the companion beside them, the sky above, the warmth of the sun on the left shoulder. This is not a small thing. Many humans spend a great deal of energy trying to arrive where a cow simply lives. Present, still, without agenda, without the particular exhaustion of a mind that cannot stop running. There is a thing that happens sometimes. If you sit very still near a herd of curious cattle and wait long enough, one will approach, then another, then perhaps a third. Not quickly, not all at once, but in that slow, cautious, interested way that cattle have, where each step closer is preceded by a pause. They want to know what you are, whether you are safe, whether you belong in their world or not. And if you remain calm and still and unthreatening, they come closer still, until you can see your own reflection in one large dark eye, looking at you with something very much like curiosity. In that moment, if you let it land, there is something quietly extraordinary happening. Two very different kinds of animal, one with 10,000 years of shared history between them, looking at each other, neither quite sure what the other is thinking. Both, for a moment, simply present. The ancient Romans believed that the stars in the constellation Taurus, the bull, brought spring rains when they appeared at the right time of year. The association of cattle with the sky, with the seasons, with the turning of the year, runs through many cultures. The bull of heaven appears in Babylonian mythology, in Egyptian mythology, in Vedic texts. The same animal walking through the stars and the stories of people who had never met each other. Taurus, the bull, visible in the night sky, contains a cluster of stars called the Pleiades, the Seven Sisters, which have been used by navigators and farmers for thousands of years to mark the seasons. Their rising in the east at dusk signals the planting time in some traditions. Their disappearance signals the end of the sailing season. The stars of the bull guiding the calendar of a world built around grain and grass and the animals that eat it. The moon, when it is full, sometimes illuminates a field of sleeping cattle from above. They lie in the silver light, their forms large and still, breathing slowly. The same moon, the same grass, the same animals, in some essential way that has not changed in a very long time. You are a little like that moonlit field right now, lying still, breathing slowly, the world quiet around you. Your body doing its slow, patient work without needing your mind's help. Your heart beating in its own time, your breath coming and going, soft as the movement of air through a field. There is a cow somewhere right now, lying in the dark, warm, still, breathing, dreaming, perhaps, of something green, of the particular grass, of a field it knows, of the companion beside it in the straw, of the sound of rain on the roof above. And here you are, also lying in the dark, also warm, also still, also breathing. Your mind growing slower and softer, the way a field grows quiet as the light falls. Let the weight of your body settle into the surface beneath you. Let each breath arrive without effort. Let the sounds around you become background. Let the thoughts that drift through pass the way clouds pass, without holding on. 10,000 years of quiet companionship between our kind and theirs is a very long time. Long enough that something of their particular patience, their slowness, their deep bovine stillness has perhaps passed into us. We recognize something in them that is not entirely foreign. Some corner of our long memory where the barn smell lives, and the sound of a bell across a field means that evening is coming and everything is well. Let your eyes be closed, or let them close now, if they have not already. Let the world outside this moment recede a little further. Let tomorrow wait where it is. There is nothing required of you, right now, except to breathe. Somewhere, a field is dark and quiet. Large, soft shapes, breathing in the darkness. The grass still under the night sky. A single star visible through the gap in the clouds. The herd settled, the calves near their mothers, the lead cow lying down, her bell silent at last, resting against the warm earth. This is where we leave the cows tonight. In the grass, in the dark, in their quiet and ancient lives. Patient as they have always been. Warm as they have always been. Still as the deepest hour of a night that holds everything softly until morning. Rest now. You have been patient enough to hear all of this. Patient as a cow at the fence, quiet as a field at dusk. Let sleep come, the way the herd lies down, one by one, when they feel safe. The night is here. The breath is slow. The world is soft and dark. And you are, at last, still.